Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Okay, so let's move on to SGE while browsing and review summaries. So this week, Google released a number of new features for SGE, which it's doing on a regular basis. Among them, you can roll over particular words in the AI snapshot. You can get definitions, in some cases, other kinds of information. Um, there's some code related improvements, but the thing that I wanted to focus on was this new feature called SGE while browsing, which is article summaries that are available in Chrome or the Google app on mobile. And in Chrome, I still don't have access to this. It wants me to download Chrome, even though I've updated and have Chrome on my computer. But anyway, I'll have to go through that process. But on the desktop, what you get is a sidebar similar to what Bing is doing, and you get a summary, key points in the article, and then you get related content. So there's a bunch of things going on. Lily Ray had a nice video uh, showcasing it, which I linked to in the article from Wednesday. But the thing that's fascinating to me is really the mobile experience. On the desktop, I think it could be quite useful to people, and it doesn't obscure the article, and it doesn't prevent ad impressions from showing. But on the in the mobile app, you have a little pop up that you initiate. It's always manual. It's never automatic, and then it'll show up, and it obscures the article that you're looking at, and it gives you the key points. And then there are icons that you can click, and it'll take you to the place in the article with with highlighting where that particular piece of information exists. So it can be potentially useful to users. Google sees it as a way to sort of more efficiently move through content, especially long form content. There's a question about whether the summaries will get it right. Are the summaries capturing the most important information? Are they accurately reflecting the information in the article? But let's assume that that's all correct. So I go to a page, I hit the generate button, and I get this summary that obscures the article and adds, and I don't look at the article. You know that this is sort of derivative content, and I'm starting to interact with the internet in this sort of once removed way, relying on Google to summarize that information. Now, it's not clear exactly when Google is doing this and when it's not doing this. You can't get this for every single article that you encounter. And I notice so for news stories, I was testing it mostly with news. For news stories where I have a corresponding app installed, the New York Times, the Washington Post, AP News, whatever, it'll take me to the app, and I don't see when I click on the story, I don't get the option to see the summary. But if I'm looking at an article that's just on the web, very often I'll see that capability, but I haven't noticed a pattern. I haven't been able to discern a specific pattern, and I don't know why they're offering it sometimes and not other times. But
How does it present itself? I haven't been
it's at
looking
the
for
it's
it.
at the it's at the this is on mobile. It's only available through the Google app. And you have to specifically opt into this experiment. So it's not
Oh,
just,
okay.
if you've opted into SGE, you also have to opt into SGE while browsing. Um,
Got it.
but it's just a little pop up at the bottom that's, you can see the sort of top of, and then you hit the icon, and it pops up and it covers the entire article. And so you don't see the article, you don't see the ads, you're not scrolling through the article. Um, you know,
You know what it reminds me of? That description reminds me of the business profile panel or the local finder where you click and it just takes you to another Google place, right?
right.
And you're still a click away from getting in touch with whoever you need to get in touch with.
Well,
It
that's
just,
right. It inserts a layer. I mean, there's other stuff there too, and there's other opportunities to click and related information. So it's not simply the summary, but it inserts a layer between you and the content. I mean, which is what Google has done itself. I mean, Google, which initially started as a tool to help people find information, has become, this is not an insight in any way, an intermediary that mediates your relationship with whatever you're looking for. And then this is more of that. This is yet another layer kind of on top of that. On the desktop, it's a different experience because nothing is concealed or nothing is obscured. So it's just a sort of a companion kind of panel of information, which is the way that Bing Microsoft has set it up. And I think in that context, it could be quite useful because you can look at the article and sort of see, oh, here's, I want to look further. But on mobile, it's completely covered. And I mean, you would have to do it. You have to click the button, but it could be bad news. It could be another kind of zero-click experience, right? Where you're just looking at Google summarized content. You're not engaging with the actual content. You're not getting ad impressions. And there is a click, but it's not going to yield any real engagement with the content unless you affirmatively decide to do that. So it's a double-edged thing. Like all Google products, it has a helpful dimension, which remains to be sort of fully explored, and it has a self-serving
dimension. That's right.
Yeah,
that's the word. And that every development you have to view and try to figure those two elements out to understand.
Right. They're often kind of, almost entirely overlapping. The Google is always motivated by multiple objectives in everything that it does.
Right. But it isn't always money from Google's point of view. Sometimes it's data, right? Sometimes it's
either directly or indirectly revenue related.
Right, but it could. But it could be just client, user retention. It might be what their behaviors are. In other words, they monetize it. It may be several layers away from direct monetization.
Right. It's not direct revenue, but it may be indirectly is contributing to revenue through user retention or engagement.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.